Hello everybody, welcome to another day of Cosmoteer. I've been spending a lot of time in the game rebuilding and building ships. So here we go, let's go ahead and dive into the game. Oh, didn't mean to do that one. Clear everything off. And let's show you what the first thing I was working on. So one of the first things I was working on was Shell Holdsep was playing with Zonskul and Unexcited, and they were working on a whole bunch of different shits. They were playing the game together in career mode, which I do want to join with them as well. Brandon Sniper first, hey, welcome. Glad you're able to join in. And what they were doing here is they were playing and building ships. So Zonskul has a very, very fast ship, and he has a bunch of these other ships. And these are definitely very interesting ships. I don't even know if this is the one that he was playing with, but this is one of the laser ones. And then Hosep built this other ship based on, I can see that it's parts of my design, and then I just literally have been spending a ridiculous amount of hours on it. You can see right here is the speed ship that he built. You can see the head is in front of the other ship, and then he changed up this and this. And he added a big booster there, and he added a bunch of other things there. And I was like, oh well, this is cool and all, but there's a lot of wasted crew, because you see right here crew sitting around doing nothing, and there was a bunch of other things that were wasted on it as well. So when I was looking at this, and bear with me a moment, I need to make sure that this is all set. There you go. When I was looking at this, I was like, okay, I need to make changes to this. Now Zonskul's ship right here is definitely a cool ship. But one of the biggest things that I see that you're missing right there, yeah, hi bro, and Sniper, big smiley face, welcome again, is the head tip right here. You don't have armor that protects the sides, as you can see right here, compared to this ship, which does. So one of the biggest flaws that you have there, Zonskul, in that ship right there, is when you look at it, your head does have armor, but there's nothing there and nothing for them to aim at. The only target that the AI is going to aim at is your core, your large reactor. We're here in Hosep's ship, even though he added these medium reactors here to support this, they're not actually necessarily really needed. Because what they do add is they add these are big targets. So let me just show you what I actually did, because I spent a tremendous amount of time on this. And so I went to a version 1.1. You can see right here, it already costs less and less crew. I started stripping out all the things that I deemed for myself as not particularly needed. So what I did was I put storage in there for career mode. I removed out the sensor because I didn't think the sensors needed it. I wiped out a bunch of crew. I changed a bunch of other things here and there, and I was like, okay, will the ship still function without the 2 extra medium reactors? And the answer to that is yes, it actually functions a lot better in a lot of senses. Now, it doesn't win against this one because I haven't fully changed it to what it's supposed to be. But you can see right here, once I ripped out all those things in, it's cheaper. And cheaper is where I was going for. Not just cheaper, but also cheaper with crew. Because when you're playing in career mode, salute, unexcited. When you're playing in career mode, your crew and the cost of the ship matter so much more than anything else. So what I did was here, and I started stripping out some more things, and I'm going to keep the original on there just so you can see the big difference. I went from 1.1 and then I went to 1.2. Now in 1.2 you can see I stripped out even more crew, cut the cost even cheaper, and reduced some of the weight here or there, and I did a bunch of other more modifications. Now another thing that you'll notice here as well is you see this crew, this one right here, this doesn't seem like a big change. You see how they're facing this way? It's a big difference from the original. The original, if you see right here, this crew right here is facing in the core. Now the big difference is when you see right here, they have to walk in here, they have to take 1 step, 2 step, 3 steps to get into here to provide power to the large shield. Or how I changed it here, just one flip. I flipped this crew quarters this way and put the door here. Instead, they just walk out, walk straight in, walk out, and supply the large generator. Now I did make a whole bunch more other changes as well. Now obviously this ship is not fully utilized yet because I haven't modified everything that's needed. But you can see this is a change that it made right here to make so 1 extra step. Now another thing that because the ship is already bigger is I went and I made another step up, and I went to, I think we were 1.1, so now we're on No, we're on 1.3. And this is where I branched off and I went to 1.3. Now 1.3, the bigger difference in 1.3, and I made a whole bunch of other changes to crew assignment as well. So like here, he had crew placement where the white was dedicated to the actual large shield generator. I got rid of that and changed things up so that it had better dispersion so people are not just sitting there doing nothing. But you can see right here, these pieces of armor I wiped out and put in, expanding out the armor significantly more. Because you see right here, remember how, as I was saying in some of the previous videos right here, this piece right here doesn't add as much armor as an actual bigger piece. And so I started messing with the armor now, armor to ratio. And I also started messing with crew assignment and a bunch of other things. Now we're just with this tiny little extra change right here, as well as crew placement and crew dedication to what is to what, it will start actually winning more. Now the other thing that also is big, huge in crew placement, as you see right here, he has these ones that are not dedicated. You see these operators, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 operators sitting around doing nothing. So that's 4 crew wasted. And remember, I also cut crew cost on it as well. So I have less crew, I cost less, but now you'll start seeing that he should start doing a little bit better versus his original one, but not quite yet. It will get to it. I still have more modifications than you do, because remember, I'm working with less crew, less costs, but I want this ship to be able to 100% always win against this ship. Now it comes close. I think this one actually comes close and sometimes does win against this one, but I want it to always win. So I needed to change up the armor some more, and you can see right here it wiped out that section, and it's going to wipe out some more. Now this ship is very, very deadly, and I'm going to show you once I get more closer to the higher modifications that I made. So 1.3, and then I went to 1.3. Well, then I went to 1.3. I went to 1.4 and I went to 1.5. So here, let me show you some other things here. So 1.4, in 1.4, I fleshed out the armor even more, but here's the problem when you make this armor too much. You see they're aiming down the middle? That's not what you want. When you add too much armor on the sides, then they start firing on what you don't want them to fire on for the AI, which is right down the middle. And you see right here, this one will always lose. So I was like, okay, maybe that one's not going to be the one that I want. So then I went to a 1.5. And 1.5, you can see right here, I fleshed out the armor even more, added more armor on the front here. But the biggest problem with 1.5 is, yes, it has all this armor, but I'm sacrificing some things where sometimes the AI decides to shoot my weapons and not just the armor. So adding this much more armor, even more, was actually the downfall of this one. So I was like, okay, this was a little bit too much armor. So you can see right here, they fleshed out all this, and they come over here, and then sometimes they start targeting weapons, and I don't want them to ever target the weapons. And that's not what I want. I want them to be able to fire upon my armor and then my shields, how the AI thinks from armor to ratio. So I was like, okay, 1.5 was not good. So then I had to back it out. I went back to 1.3, and I fleshed out 1.3.1. So I fleshed out this armor a little bit better. You can see right here, I added it. It's a little bit wider, but it's just enough armor to add so that they don't shoot the weapons. Very, very low percent chance of shooting the weapons. But having just enough armor so that it literally can do sacrifice back and forth. With this one, you see right here, even here, sometimes you shoot right down the middle and it can blow up the other ship. So you're sacrificing armor to power to ratio. It makes a huge, huge difference in how these are actually set up and played. So, but you see this ship right here is doing so much more better, and the cost-wise, only 80 crew and 496,000. So, and then I went over here and I went all the way to 1.3, and then I made a whole bunch more changes, crew assignments, everything. I finally ended it up with. Did I do 1.32? 1.31, 1.32. It's okay. We'll go to 1.33. 1.33 is where I was like, okay, we need more extra firepower. So instead of just having 2 disruptors, I added 3. I added a 4th disruptor back here. I also changed up this weapon right here. This one's shooting alternate, where these ones are purposely shooting on double fire. Now the reason why the double fire is for the burst damage here, and this one right here is because you see how it runs out of energy sometimes, but you want the constant base of fire. Where here is on the original one, he has it just firing just a burst fire. Now you see it'll run out of power, and then it will sit for a while. And that's not good compared to having alternate firing, which adds a lot more better. Now at this point, this ship is going to win 90% of the time, because of more firepower and everything else on it. So I was like, okay, the blue ship is the one I'm using, and that one that everyone was trying to keep up with. The greenish ship I just made. The bluish ship, oh, okay. Everyone was trying to make it get up to, he's saying this one right here. This one has a ton of speed. Like a ton of speed. Here's some of the problems that I see with this ship back here. You see all these right here? The people have to get all this power to run all the way back here to give power back to these boosters in the back. You may want to alternate change or change it to an engine room or something. Obviously, it's not a fair fight because the ship is so much more firepower, but something you probably want to look at there is on school is the back has some kind of power issues in the engine. I haven't looked at it too much, but I definitely should. Now, I know I went to 1.33. I want to go to 1.3. I went to 1.31. Hold on, I need to see what 1.31 was. 1.31. Okay, 1.31. This is still adding the disruptors, and then I changed up and see right here I have a disruptor, and then lasers. This was, I think, you added a deck gun to this, the other one. A deck gun would actually be really cool to it. But this one was either the one of the final designs or decided to go with the other one with the lasers. Yeah, this one was the heavy laser. So I had 4 heavy lasers with 2 disruptors. It was cool, but what I needed more of, and yes, this thing has a ton more firepower, but I think I actually ended up with, this one, 1.34. I believe this was the final version that I stayed ended with. Yes, okay. So, 3 disruptors, small mini laser, alternate firing laser here. I changed up the walkways significantly compared to this one. I also changed the priorities, so there's a bunch of walkways that have changed up here, and I changed up this compared to the original. And I wiped out a bunch of the roles because the role assignment was all, and then I changed priorities on a bunch of other things as well. So if you look over here on this one, the priorities are really set, even more defined. And as well as the default, these default guys are still backups to do what they need to do. They mainly support the larger shield, but they can do other things as well. So they're not, if the larger shields go, which are normally the first thing to go on the ship, these guys in white don't just sit around and do absolutely nothing. They have other things that they can, and they're right next to the generator, so they can actually go around and run around the ship. Now another thing that's also different about this ship as well is if, for example, you lose this section right here, they can still take a back route and support, so it's a sectionized ship. Now this finalized ship that I did right here, let's take this one out and come over here to my ships. I also started making modifications to my 2 cannon, 4 cannon, 6 cannon ship as well, but we'll take the most modified version of the 2 cannon. Now I've never been able to have a ship that costs less than my 2 cannon ship, cost-wise, with no projectile weapons to be able to take on this ship. Now obviously ions or railguns you can take on the 2 cannon ship easy. Or ion beams, you may stand a chance against this ship as well. But I'm just talking about pure lasers and disruptors to stand a chance against this ship. Now this ship doesn't win all the time, but now it actually stands a chance against this ship. It really depends. You can see right here the armor to ratio, the shooting down the middle. I'm missing a tiny bit of armor in the front just for this one, so I have to figure out how to add maybe just one more extra layer of armor right here to the front, so they're not always firing down the middle. What they should be doing is aiming toward here. So as soon as you lose a little bit of armor right here, the AI then tries to focus the larger shield. This is where you'll see the sectioning. So if he blows up this section right here, they can take another route and go behind, and still, even though at a crippled state, can still support the rest of the ship if they don't blow it all up. Now during my testing, I was actually able to beat this other ship, but then obviously I came back to my 2 cannon ship and I started making modifications and changing it to make this ship even better. So it's going back and forth between making each ship better. But this ship now has a ton more firepower, is a fast ship, I haven't touched the back armor from Hosip's original back armor, but I liked how these squares right here, which adds a whole lot more protection, but it looks kind of goofy, but it actually adds a ton of protection in the back from a whole bunch of different angles, because you see how it layer stacks in some kind of weird format. It really is nice, and I like the ship so much that I spent all morning literally trying to add more firepower, more utilization. The crew is not totally completely used up. And you'll see right here, this battle may last a little bit longer, but this ship, I believe, is near a state where it could possibly win versus my two-cannon ship. Which, for those that have never actually faced this two-cannon ship versus your own ships, I highly recommend taking my two-cannon ship and facing it versus your ship at around the same cost or lower, and see if you can beat it. And I'm sure there are ships that can beat it, but non-projectile ones. We do a non-projectile ship versus a two-cannon ship, and you find a ship that can blow it up and beat it, which I'm sure there are, and I know that the community in my Discord channel have definitely made them. I see Zonsko actually put a ship in Discord, so I'm going to go get that one. Let me go get it right now. Save image. Save. Just make sure that this is okay. Good. We'll pull it in here in a second. We'll speed this up a tiny bit. I think it might win. Yeah, this one will win now in this particular scenario. It doesn't win all the time, but it has a chance. And the pure fact that it has a chance, it might not even win this time because it's so close. I don't know why they're getting stuck on each other like that. But it actually won versus that one, which is kind of neat. Anyways, I liked it so much, I actually put it part of my main fleet. And so I have it in here, and I named it as this one right here. You see it's 80 crew, but 505,000. So, yeah, I like that one a lot. Alright, we are in November. Just make a new folder. What is this? 11.20.2023. Alright, Zonsko has a ship. Now, I wasn't really going to be doing all these other ships because I was trying to focus on all these other ones, but here's Zonsko's one. And we'll pull in this one. Now, I know the cost-wise it's not even close to the same, but with the extra deck cannon that you added there, well, that's kind of neat. But you see your front armor, even with the shields? Not enough versus this type of firepower. So, I know you added it even higher. This is where I was saying, and even then, I'm not even sure if you add enough armor here on school, and if you do something like this, if it's even enough. I don't even know. I don't think it will be. The amount of firepower that's coming off this new ship that was just made is, you can see right here, is a heavy amount of fire, and before you even get past even the first shield, the amount of firepower coming off this ship is tremendous with a new design and with the crew. And the main reason why I added so much extra firepower is looking at all the crew, and I was like, well, with this many crew and this much more cost, you can add so much more firepower to it and add it to be better. And you notice I've changed the weapons a ton on all the different versions. I was testing out, well, which one works the best? Anyways, let's take a little bit more peek at this ship right here. I like the cannon. I like the cost that is cheap. I like the speed. These ones back here are very interesting to help with the strafing. Can't you make these bigger boosts? No, you wouldn't be able to make them bigger boosts just because then they interact with the other ones. It's a cool, neat little ship for a cheap cost. And honestly, for its cost range, what is it, 52? Here's the other test. Can you face something like this with that ship? So 331, 356 crew. I mean, this one's still a tiny bit more. But the bigger question is, can you face a ship like this on school? answer is no, not even with a deck cannon. Unexcited says, let's go expand it in our current network game. Yeah, I need to join that network game and join in too and see what kind of designs are coming out of it. There's a resource limit on it. Understood. I don't know, I like all this. I like this all heavily a ton. It is definitely a cool ship, but what's probably needed is even more something. It has a good amount of shields. I mean, versus in-game non-player character PvE ships, this ship definitely is a powerful ship. I like it a lot. It kind of looks like a little insect, like bug thing, right? He's got the mouth and everything and the wings, and then you have this stinger in the back. I added more armor. You're currently in 4th or 6th zone, and do you only have one ship, or you were playing with multiple ships? Because when I reach the 4th to 6th zone, that's where I don't even use these laser ones. If I'm going to use cannons, this is where I switch it up. Multiple ships, yeah. So where I switch up, and if you can get the cost, but if your cost is only at the 300,000 range, I normally salvage a whole bunch of pieces and materials, and I try to get to one of these as soon as possible. Because this 2-cannon ship is tremendously more deadly than even this one. Like my other ship, the new ship that I designed, can't beat this one because of the disruptors on the end. And this shape over here like this. This ship has just so much more. But I mean, I like Zonskill's ship. It is cool. Normally I come over to one of these 465s, 2 cannons. And this is the first thing that I aim for in mine. Because this is a ship right here that I've never been able to get another ship that can beat for lower cost. That's just pure non-projectile. And that's why I was designing the other ship to do that. And one Kunan with flag. Because this is a cheap ship to make. And the crew cost is also cheap as well. That's the other thing. That's the next step on this other one that I'm trying to do right here. Is I'm trying to cut the cost in this one to be even less crew. Because it's still 80 crew. 505,000, but 80 crew. But still, in the game, this is a ship that... This would be my fighter ship. If I didn't want to use any projectiles and I was low on resources, I couldn't be able to fight sulfur. This is the ship that I would want to build. Now, the other thing that came up with this too, and I know when Hosep watches this later, one of the biggest things that the medium generators are a big problem with the other ship is if you come over here and you look at those 2 medium ones, come over here back to his original, you notice he has these 2 medium reactors to help support these engines. What these medium reactors actually become is they've actually become targets. So once he loses this large shield and it gets far enough in, and it looks like the armor to ratio is a little too much, he can swipe off a little bit there. So this ship's gonna lose because he's aiming right down the middle. Not always the scenario, but you see right here, there's just too much armor on the side. Need a tiny bit. I need at least one more layer on the front. I need at least one more so they don't do that. Which would be... one more layer. And I'm pretty sure that would stop that in full. And so now they're aiming down the sides. But what happens here is these medium reactors right here. No worries, on school. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for commenting. Yeah, these medium reactors here become large targets with no armor for them. So once this goes out, what happens here is the AI is going to decide, okay, once these 2 shields are gone, the next target is not this large reactor. The next target is going to be the medium reactor. Now he's over here taking out my weapons because there was too much armor on the front. And so that's the armor to ratio. See, I added a little bit too much armor on the front, and now they're destroying all the weapons. And that's not what you want. So it's a fine balance between too much armor and weapons, where this is just the right amount of armor so that after they destroy this part, you don't want them firing on your weapons, because if you lose your weapons, then you lose all your damage to ratio. So even though I sacrifice, sometimes they can shoot down the middle. It's the gamble sometimes, roll the dice. And so now he's at least targeting this one. I still have all my weapons firing. I lost a couple weapons, but that's okay. But you see right here, that's a target. And then you lost one whole wing. And then over here it's going to take up this one, and it's going to take this medium generator. So the medium generator is nice, but unless it's protected enough, it's just a big target for the AI to shoot at. Plus, as you can see right here, this ship, even with the large reactor, now I know it's red and it's constantly red, but as long as it stays red and people are still moving in and out, and it's not like these guys are sitting for forever, then it's still going to function, because you see here, clear it up and it's not red anymore. So it's just enough to power the entire ship just with one large reactor. You don't need two other medium ones, because it's okay for it to be red for short periods of time, just not the entire battle. Anyway, those sitting here watching back and forth, trying to find balance in armor, find balance how much energy. Yes, it's going to be red in the beginning because everybody's trying to run to it, but you notice nobody's sitting in their bunkers too much. Most people are moving. There are a few guys sitting around because these guys in green are specifically dedicated for the engines only. But you see all the blue guys are out. The white guys are sitting in there because they're mainly dedicated for the larger shields. So if the shield gets interrupted, and once the shields are gone, then they have other roles to do something else. They're not all sitting there, but they're sitting there mainly. And you can see how the ship is performing with just one large reactor. Where this other ship was still lost, and it still costs more. So it's the fine balance between the two, where you optimize ship, a built-out ship, cool concept, is optimized, but you could optimize it more. Like, it doesn't need it needs 94 crew, obviously, for the sensor array, and then you have a bunch of other things in here as well, but it doesn't need the full 94, where these are just gigantic targets for the AI. Because I know you don't want them to go red, but it's okay to go red if you can still supply a ship, if the ship's compact enough and the people can get to where they need to get to. It's the same concept where I have based on this one right here. So this one right here with my laser ship, 96 crew, 586,000. But you notice there's only one large reactor. Everyone's keep telling me put more in there. Once you put more in there, the problem is if you put another generator in here, which I've thought of and I've tried multiple times, even if you put another generator here, right here, or small reactors, the AI is going to think of always to grab the closest one, so they'll come for the small reactor instead of this one. And these guys are carrying 3 power cells instead of carrying a single one. So if you put in small reactors here, or even medium reactors, the AI always is trying to pull from the front reactor compared to the back one. Unless you physically assign them. You're trying to assign them to be able to do multiple roles and multiple jobs. It really becomes a huge mess when you're trying to assign it. That's why I always try to make my ships just one reactor and design around just the one reactor and not multiple. The only time I'm going to do multi-reactors is if you sectionize off your ship and really sectionize so that this is only one section, that's another section, that's another section, where they don't interact with each other in some other way. But the problem with if you sectionize it that way, then they can't redistribute to the ship somewhere else or some other place that you want. Now the nice thing is that this ship right here, I'm probably going to build on it more. I want this ship to be able to kind of maybe replace this one in some form or fashion. This one has the point defenses. Now I showed in my last video, just my yesterday's live stream, how straight point defenses work better than diagonal point defenses. So I don't know how diagonal defenses are going to work on this. If I were to put it on this ship, this one's more straight combat, tiny bit of storage, but speed and combat. And thank you, Hosip, for giving me this awesome, cool new design. I love how the booster plays on the back. I still feel like the back armor needs to be fixed up a bit, but as far as the front, optimization for armor and for weapons, definitely more optimized for what it can do. And just so you can see the big difference, you see the head on this, it's wider and different compared to this one. Even though they look almost identical, it is different. This one's just kind of shaped, you know, kind of like a little thing head, and this one's kind of more of a fatter, wider head, which adds just a little bit more protection for the back here for the shield. And I think I also noticed another thing too. No, not that one. It's on his original. So on your original Hosep, you don't have a double armored one when he actually watches this. Wherever it is. Right here, this one. So right here is this piece right there. See this? This is not a double piece, this is two just squares. That's a big, huge critical loss for something right next to the shield. This should be a double piece, because a single piece is actually less armor than the double piece. It takes in more shots to get to it. So toward it, even just a tiny little bit extra armor makes a difference when you're fighting in combat. So tiny little things there, here and there, will help out a ton. Alright, that's enough of that ship. Let's come over here and let's show the silly things that I changed on these ships right here. So I finally started changing my 4 cannon ship to a point where I literally got to 1632, whatever. It got to a point where this 4 cannon ship can literally beat my 6 cannon ship. And I started going, what's going on? And it started to do with this, well, it actually may take you the original 6 cannon. I then improved the 6 cannon ship so it could actually fight back against it. But this 4 cannon ship, you would think that it should never be able to win against 6 cannons. But the changes and the optimizations that I started making to this ship, which huge play role was basically the point defenses. Point defenses I changed. Give this an 8. A 4 is the minimum you would need for them to be able to do something else besides not sit. A 1, they're almost never going to do it unless there's no other crew for it. But a 4 will make it so that they'll come and they'll grab sulfur and redistribute sulfur. The other problem I found with my ship right here is I didn't have these supplying the actual factories, which was a huge mistake that I had on my 4 cannon ship, my original one, which is what's shared in that Google Drive SharePoint. But this one now actually stands. It doesn't win all the time, but it can win against the 6 cannon ship, which I was like, what's going on? I added a tiny bit more armor. That's where I utilized these shapes right here. So you see this long shape right here? This adds a lot less armor. Or if you add in the tiny bit more extra armor, where here if you see, the battle's going to go, it's still probably going to lose the 4 cannon ship. But you see right here, I changed this armor up here where I added a double piece right here, which actually changes the whole way the AI actually targets. With just one double piece armor here, the AI doesn't target this anymore. It now targets the back cannons. So I had to add more armor over here to help protect so that the AI would not shoot just for the back cannons as often. But the thing right here, this one right here, this is where they're shooting because the longer piece right here is less armor, and the AI is going to start trying to shoot for the shield and not for the back cannons. Or it depends on armor to ratio when it starts losing different pieces. So it's a fine balance between going back and forth. How much armor are you going to put? Not how much armor you're going to put. And then crew placement and utilization, and also making sure the factories are always powered, making sure the sulfur is actually supplied to where it needs to go. All those different things play a huge effect into how this 4 cannon ship actually performed. And you see right here, it's already doing devastating damage to the 6 cannon. And if we speed this up, I don't know if this 4 cannon ship would win. It doesn't look like it's going to win in this scenario. But what I changed based on this one, if you come over here and you look at the original 4 cannon, this original 4 cannon right here, I didn't have, and this is huge. Oh, I saved over it. This didn't have this before. I didn't have them like that. Which I just had it set like this. If you look at the original save folder, this is bad because all they do is they come here and they grab from here and they bring this over here, and then they have to run over here, grab stuff over here, and run all the way back up here to get these guys. Because I didn't have the dedications for it. I purposely did this so that this can be supplied so that these can actually keep firing in the game. But the problem is these also have to be dedicated to here in order for it to function. Otherwise they won't grab from here to give out. So it's a huge fine balance, and then I think it changed it even more. Or no, I left it just like that. And that works just fine for the purpose that I need. And then adding a little bit more armor there, changing up the actual priorities. Huge difference. I even changed the point defense ones as well, these power distributors. Power distributors as well, I give an 8 and a 4. A 4 is just the minimum amount so that they can still do the job, supply sulfur, and not a 1. So 1, 2, and 3, they won't even budge. But a 4, they can override whatever else they're doing. If they have literally nothing else to do, they will go and supply sulfur to where they need to do. So a 4 is the bare minimum where you want to go. Don't go lower than a 4. Because normally they'll just sit in the bunker and they'll never do any of the job at all unless nobody else can do it at all. Which is very rarely. So I consider the 4 as basically the 1. Let's come over here. I made changes to all those ships. This is where I changed that one as well. I took out the test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Made that a more dedicated one. I haven't finished working on booster 1.5 yet. It's definitely one that I want to keep working on. And this ship right here with the booster 1.5, even versus these right here, I know this is another one that I was working on as well. I haven't finished up the armor, but this one definitely functioned a lot better. I even changed up this as well. I changed it for all the ships because I saw just how much better it performs. So I changed this to 8, changed this to 4. For those that are not fighting these ships versus each other or have the original designs from my Google Drive folder, it's a significant change. It makes them perform way, way better. The 8 and the 4 right there is a big, big difference for the cannons to constantly be firing and powered and supplied. For taking the point defense guys as well as taking the power distributors. Because the things that you tend to lose are your shields, your disruptors, and I don't have anything else for power. So I need these power distributor guys to do other jobs to make sure that it's actually supplying where it needs to supply. Now the same thing right here is I'm going to have to actually fix the rolls because I haven't fixed all these rolls to be fully optimized to where I want them to be. Like these shields right here are 7s. But I haven't figured out the full what I want to change the front because this one's really sectionized where there's the front of the ship and then the back of the ship. It's still a much more powerful ship because you can see right here it's definitely be able to tank and do what it needs to do. But you can see how this ship now with all this extra armor is actually performing a lot better before it actually reached this one. So I need to figure that out. Which I'm going to do. I just need to play around with it some more. But that's what I've been doing. That's what I've been working on. Lots of changes. Lots of changes. Now I do need to make another community one. I know there's been more ships that people have been building and putting them in. I need to go check that. We'll do that and probably in another video, but I've just been doing build sessions for myself right now. This is a neat ship, but I gotta fix this back armor here. I gotta fix this section here. And I gotta fix a bunch of other things on it. It still wins against this other ship that I tried to fix up, because this is definitely a better straight up cannon ship. But here you can see another thing. Completely out of sulfur. So it took all the sulfur to do that one battle, which is a concern if you're trying to fight in an actual game. How long can it last versus another ship? Those are the biggest concerns that I have with that one. Let me come... Actually, you know, did I ever finish... What was the one we were on? We were on... November 8th. 11/8. I never finished. Here. Let me finish this. I think we were on Turtle Tippers? I think we got the bully ship. We never got to the chain gun. Did we just see that one? I don't think we saw the flinger ship. Yeah, flinger. All right. Let's go back here to the November 8th because I know I had to stop all of a sudden. So Turtle Tipper, here is your flinger ship. What on? This is a cool railgun supported ship. I like the placement of these point defenses on the side. These tiny little ones. There's power issues. Huge power issues right here. I think the fix for that is just as simple as this. That's what I think is the fix. Let's find out. You have crew walking away. Why are they walking away? Yeah, crew's walking away from there. You have many red shirts. They walked away. They walked away from the... What is it? Railgun operator? Ted? I mean, if you're just gonna leave one. There. Don't walk away. You need constant base of fire. See, even this one, the guy, the crew is walking away. Nobody's sitting in the firing position. Not a fair fight versus each other, but you see that, and then you had the power problems that you had before. You see right here, now less power problems, maybe, I don't know. The fight gets something else that's you can shoot at. Here, let's see how fast its on skill ship is compared to this. This is an older design, but he doesn't have any reverse thrust on this flinger. But you can see constant base of fire, constantly powered now. You're gonna lose this one, but that's okay. Interesting. It's an interesting support stair ship, Turtle Tripper. Whenever you watch this. Interesting, interesting. Okay, iconic. Ironic? Is that what it says? Ironic? It looks like a of those pot thingies from like Persian times or something. Like a little jar. Such an interesting design. Alright. This just reminds me of something like this. The 16-man crew. Do I have... Here. Man, reminds me of something like this. And then you ask yourself, what would you feel like more? So this one, I don't even know if I ever shared this one. This is obviously this is one from those contest one, but I made huge modifications to it. This thing was a nasty little tiny ship, far beyond anything I wanted to think it could make. I made huge changes to it. So the Atria right here, it comes from. I know the Iconic is an interesting ship. It comes from the built-in ships. I'm pretty sure it's called Design Contests. I think it was actually the first one, February. Yeah, right here. So the original versus what I changed. And I just added a tiny bit more crew, add a little bit more cost. You can see right here, this is the modified one I made. This is the original. The original is this tiny little square, which is just two beams that just aim, right? But when you can have a beam that can actually change direction and aim, you can actually do a little bit more. And then when you have these little disruptors on the back to take out those shields, all of a sudden, you have a much more deadly ship, which is a tiny bit more cost. I was thinking about massing these tiny little ships right here. These are nasty. The reason I even thought of the Atria was like, you face against any of their ships in the same cost range in a frontal battle. This little thing is a nasty little ship once updated and changed that way. Anyways. Let's come back over here. And November 8th. Zon School, I know you're not here anymore, but whenever you come back to watch the rest, you have a 100 CP prototype. Now, I'm just going over these ships. I don't know if they updated the Google Drive or not, but I wanted to make sure that November 8th ones, I finished them out. Flat cannons and flat cannons. That's actually a good idea for as a defensive. Because the flat cannons will take out the lasers and other things. But it looks like he's using these flat cannons as offensive. Very interesting ship. What does this remind me of? And what can it stand against? How much does this thing cost? $325? Does this stand a chance against this? I don't think it does, but I don't know. Yeah, here, let's go lesser. It's even cheaper. Lesser armor. There you go. Now that I have these little pieces here, and now that I know that these don't do as good, I want to just change them out to double pieces of armor like these. This is just the design, right? No, he's not going to get past all the armor. Doesn't have enough disruptors. Still, the concept's cool. This is definitely a cool concept. think what would do better is instead of just 2 flat cannons, you would add maybe even more flat cannons, but I'm not sure. I've never been a huge fan of flat cannons after I used them for my first ship. So if those that are watching this for the first time, or seeing this for the first time, one of the first designs I ever built was I think it was one of these. I don't even know if I have my original or not. Yeah, right here. This is one of my first ships that I had made and gotten to some point in the game. Literally flat cannons, flat cannons. I didn't know the flat cannons actually could stop lasers and things. But this is an alpha strike that's super, super deadly, as you can see. But it was not crew efficient at all. Like you can see right here, I was 192 crew. I was just building my very first ship I've ever made. Oh, because I never did those ones unexcited. I had to stop. I had to actually stop. I never got to these ones. But November 20th, I will pull on that one later. The reason I'm doing November 8th ones, and those ships specifically, is I never actually got to them. I had to cut that one short on November 8th. Because I didn't even have them. I stopped at that bully. That's why I didn't have the flinger in there. But I'll get to the newer ones once we get to it. But I just want to make sure I went over the few ships that I didn't get to go through. That's why I was going through those older ones. I'm wondering now if my original ship can even face for something like this. I'm pretty sure this is going to still rip through this one because the alpha strike on this is huge. And now that I know that flat cannons actually can stop lasers and things, that's what makes this ship, even though it was the first ship ever designed, maybe I should fix this one up, reduce the crew cost. But you can see that this is one of the very first ships I ever built when I first started playing this game, so I kind of liked it. I just kept it. I haven't been able to fix it. And then I tried to transform it and add lasers, but now that I know what flat cannons can actually do, maybe I will revisit a flat cannon design. This is one where I changed it up and I added lasers instead of flat cannons on the front. Did you know that? Nope, I didn't know anything about it. I was using the flat cannons as offensive. I was like, oh, flat cannons, and I saw that enemy players were using it as offensive, so my first design was just an alpha strike type of flat cannon when I joined the game. And then I was like, oh, well, how come this laser one wins? And then I started replacing out the flat cannons with lasers and things. But the flat cannons are pretty cool, but they're just the huge things that can go boom. So, I don't know. Just messing with things. By default, they are set to attack and defense. Yeah, I did notice that part. What do I want to work on next? I did really want to fix up this one. Need to intentionally set them to defenses only. That would be true. You know what? I would set the front ones to defense only. That would make more sense. Like if I were to come over here, and I didn't know how to do that back then either. I'd come over here and check this one. And come over here and... Sorry, I got noises in the back. And change this right here. Just to defense only. Right? Makes me wonder. Not gonna be able to stop all that. Kid wanted to get a lollipop. I still don't like flat cannons. Look at all of the boom. Tons and tons of boom effect. What are these guys doing right here? They were waiting for the ship to go boom. That was kind of neat. They were waiting on the outer rings. Interesting scenario. I really gotta fix something on this. And I don't know where I want to fix it. I had the double layer right here for the attachment because if you lose this piece, you lose this piece. But then I'm thinking that's just extra weight. So I don't know. I gotta figure that out some more. I'm still thinking about it. I'm still building. I'm gonna start ripping out some of these ships that are extra. Like this 107.31. I'm gonna just keep that one. We'll get rid of this one. Just keep the newest ones. Use structure to connect them. Use a structure to connect them? This is true. That's a good point there. This is a good point. He's saying come over here and instead using one of these like this. Right? Add this.
It's sour.
That's all I got.
Huh?
I only have this sour lollipop.
Why?
I don't have any other ones.
We have to buy all the lollipops.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. We'll go later and we'll go get more lollipops, okay? Okay. I don't know if I mean, weightless, yes, but then these armor structures right here. These are what? Where's the mass? 1.5 tons, and this is 0.17 tons. Compared to, can I even look at this? This was 6 tons. It adds armor, and it adds protection, and it's not that heavy. I don't know if I want to fully remove that. Maybe triangle section, alt. This is even less weight. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with this ship. I had more fun designing this. I mean, what I probably should just keep doing, and I know I went to a point because I was showcasing it because people were asking, because I finally found the ship, this one right here. I want to work on this one more. I don't know why, but this is what I want to work on. I'm all into lasers. This ship being able to beat this ship sometimes was just cool. But I want this ship right here to always win against this ship. That would be the main goal. Or win at least 80% or more of the time. But what to do to change on it? I was thinking of adding more armor, but then I have the armor to AI ratio. Thought about adding more weapons. I still have, what was it? How much more command points? I still have a decent amount of command points to work with here. You mean add it to change for the dragon? This one? That's what I was thinking. I was thinking about adding the dragon head to there, but then that adds so much less to it. Because this one's actually less protection with these triangle pieces. It has a cool design, but it's a lot less armor in certain sections. But I do like it. I like that idea. Why not? See what it does. Take the dragon head. Copy. And paste the dragon head. That kind of looks kind of interesting. I wonder how this will do. Let's go to 1.2. See what AI shoots with like this. Shooting at the weapons. It's too much armor. So, come over here. Gotta back it up. And let's see. Cut it out. Backed it up some. Probably have to back it up a little bit more. Yeah, they're still shooting at the weapons there. We're gonna back it up a little bit more. Go over here. And we'll do this. We'll paste. Oh, let's redo the selection. Select. Cut. Paste. Probably have to shave up a little bit more armor here. Oh, looks like that's now targeting where it needs to target. Let's leave. Enjoy the rest of your day. Salute, I'm excited. Thanks for coming. Thanks for chatting. Have a good one. Come up here and... I need to probably shave off a tiny bit of armor here. Here, take off this piece right here, and that's right there. I almost want to move it one more square back, actually. Get rid of this one. Move it all down one. Cut this. What the? Right there. Save shit design. Go to 1.3. See how this performs. 1.3. Still fire? He still can fire out. I feel like we still need to fix the armor on it though. Now it's got a cool design on the head, but the armor on it is not as strong as it should be. You can see it's not performing even close to what it used to. Ish. This should not be this should be a two-piece. This should be a two-piece. 2, 2. And that one's a piece that goes there like that. This should be this. That will square out that one a little bit. And then these pieces right here, I know that look, but this right here needs to actually be more defensive. Yes. Here, I know you're making the futon into a castle, but that's okay. That was too much armor. Too much armor. Yeah, they're still aiming at the weapons, which is something we don't want to do. It's a cool idea, but it's not as effective. Not as effective at all. This one is the most effective because it adds just a full layer of defense to it, while adding all that protection and not taking away the actual defense of it, and forcing the AI to shoot down here. See how much more? Now they're going to switch targets and switch toward the next one. Still giving me the full power to actually shoot at them without losing my weapons, which is far more important. Makes a huge difference. I already spent many hours fixing this front head. So even though this dragon head looks cool, it's not as effective as this head right here. So adding a ton of protection and being able to fully utilize and then take out this ship right here. Because you see right here, this is a full win. You didn't take out any of my weapons, and when you don't take out any of the weapons, this ship will win. Because it's enough damage to take it all out. So, I'm going to work on it some more. We're going to play around with it some more. Test it out. So I think it's a good place to end this here. So if you enjoyed this content, please feel free to smash the like button. Helps me out a ton. Helps push out this content to other people, bring awareness to it. If you have not already, please feel free to leave me a comment down below. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like, especially what you don't like, so that I can improve and make better content. If you like, please feel free to subscribe. If you don't want to subscribe, that's okay as well. Come back once a week, once a month. Check out what content I have, and or come back, daily if you like, and check out what I have, because I may be making videos every single day again. It just depends on how busy I get and how things go. Thank you all for watching, thank you all for supporting me, and you all have a wonderful rest of your day.